right, you are back with comedian David Boyle, and I'm quitting alcohol. So I just want to send my condolences to Andrew Paskin, whose mum passed away yesterday. Andrew's one of my favourite people in comedy. I started out with him, if that's what you call what we were doing at the time. We were mainly just drinking, but he's one of my favourite people. So yeah, I just want to send my condolences out to Andrew and his family. Could 2020 get any more fucked up? I never really know what to say to people when someone passes away. I guess there really isn't anything you can say besides that's fucked. But I guess we all have to deal with it at some point, don't we? I mean, at some point we all die. This wasn't the direction I was planning on going. Let's change direction. What direction am I going to change to? Where do I go now? Where the fuck do I go now? I was going to send this to Andrew. He was going to listen to it. He was going to let his family listen to it. He was going to think to himself, yeah, Boyle's a cunt, but what a good bloke he is deep down. I won't be doing that now. He'll be like, fucking Boyle makes it all about himself again. Somehow, he's made it all about himself. I should probably start this again, but I'm not going to. But Andrew really is one of my favourite people, not just in comedy. He's become a great friend. We started comedy pretty much together in the city. He's a little bit older than I am. He would rock up to these shitty open mics. So he would come in, sit at the back of the room. I would come in, sit at the back of the room, and we'd both be watching the fucking shit comedians go up, disgusted in what we were seeing. And he was slamming the drinks back. So I immediately gravitated towards him. Then he started telling me how he's a full-blown alcoholic and a degenerate gambler and just a degenerate in general. Actually, I did the second episode of his podcast. So if you want to go listen to me and Andrew Paskin shooting the shit and shitting on comedians, go listen to the Andrew Paskin podcast. Paskin. All right, have I come across good in this one? Have I come across like I'm a sympathetic guy with a heart of gold? I think I have. Just call me Captain Empathy. All right, anyway, let's move on now, for fuck's sake. All right, it's Fucked Up Friday. No one sent me in a Fucked Up Friday this week, so I'm going to tell you a story. I can't remember if I told you this story or not. We're getting into the weeds now. We're at the point where I really, really have to think of stories when it comes to Fucked Up Friday now. And I'm starting to forget which stories I've told and which ones I haven't. Okay, so this was after my first stint off the piss. I think I have told this story before. Now you'll be able to go back and compare stories and see what I've fucking thrown in there on a whim. Anyway, so this was just after my first stint off the piss. So this was the end of 2011, I think it was. Something like that. Anyway, I had started drinking again. I maybe would have been about a week or two into drinking again in Australia. And I had kept it for that week or two just fucking real tight. Like 2 beers, that's it. For that week, I stayed right on top of it. I think I might only had like 4 or 5 beers the entire time before I went to Bali. So I get to Bali. I'm by myself. I'm staying with one of my best mates who's married to a Balinese girl. They've got a little apartment there. He'd been living there for 3 years at this point, so he's fluent in Indonesian. He's got a fucking whole crew of people. He knows the ins and outs of Bali. And when you go to Bali with someone who knows what the fuck's going on and can take you to places outside the fucking tourist areas, Bali is one of the best places in the world. Could be the best place, but I don't know. I don't want to get into that debate. So I get to Bali, we're all riding scooters and shit like that. I decide not to drink on the first night because I was trying to keep it under control. That's why, because I didn't want to fuck up. So that was fine. The next day comes around and everyone starts talking about going to a tour bar. And tour is some fucking traditional Balinese drink that's made out of coconut. It's not Iraq. Iraq is like processed, I think. I don't know. But tour comes pretty much in the coconut. It's left on the tree to ferment or something like that. Just know it's fucking traditional and you're meant to do some fucking prayer before you drink it. And there's a way you drink it. So we go to this tour bar, which is less a bar and more a tin shed. And we buy a whole bunch of fucking tour to take away. And we stay at the bar and have a few tours. And there's a way you drink this tour. They pour you a glass. Pretty much the glass is a plastic bottle with the top cut off. They pour you about half a 600ml bottle. Then what you're meant to do, you're meant to slam it in one go. And you got to remember, I haven't been drunk in fucking over a year. So I'm there and I'm starting to get excited. And my mate is like, man, you've got to respect this stuff. Like, it's the traditional stuff. Don't fuck around with it. I'm like, yeah, don't worry, I am respecting it. And I was very respectful for the first 3 or 4. And then that buzz came on, and I was less than respectful. So I keep slamming them. We leave the tour bar. We go back to my mate's little apartment. All the Indonesians come over, and there's a bit of a party going on. Everyone's playing cards. There's a fucking circle of card playing going on. There was maybe like 10 people there, and the tour glass would go around in the circle and everyone would do a shot of it. And so I was in the circle. Maybe I'm like 10 tours deep now and quite a few beers. And I'm like, can you fucks hurry up with the tour? Give me more. And my mate's like saying, calm down, man, calm down. The tour's taking control of you. Like, he was really pushing the spirits of the tour. He's like, you can't disrespect this stuff. It'll fuck you up. I'm like, I'm not disrespecting it. Just give me more. I'm worshipping it. That's what I'm doing. I'm worshipping the fucking tour. Now give me more. And I just kept on bullying my way in and slamming more and more and more with various other alcohols. Next thing I know, I am fucking hammered. And the spirits of the tour have taken over Boyle. This little party continues and people are coming and going. And I don't know what's going on. I'm just reacting. So this guy walks in. I'd never seen him before. He was an older dude. Like a real scraggly looking fucking older dude. And he walks in with the young guy. And I'm like, what the fuck is going on here? I'm like, this cunt's a fucking pedophile. I didn't ask any questions. I wasn't like, who is this guy? And who is that young dude he's with? I just got it in my head, he's a pedophile. And I'm going to let him know I know he's a pedophile. So he's sitting down with this young bloke next to him. And to me, they look like they're getting a little bit close. And I'm like, this guy has brainwashed this fucking kid. This fucking dirty old pedophile cunt. And so I sit down across from him and just start giving him the fucking stink eye. And he's sort of trying to be like matey with me. Because I'm giving him the full fucking stare down. And then I just start going, you're a fucking pedophile. And I start arcing up, you fucking pedophile. Arcing up, that's a pretty Aussie word. Fucking arcing up. He fucking arced up at me. So I start arcing up, you're a fucking pedophile. People start dragging me away. My mate's like, dude, the tour's got you. It's got you, man. The spirits are in you. They've possessed you. I'm like, shut up and give me more tour. So they take us apart. I'm on the other side of the room now. This guy's still there. And I'm still giving him this stink eye because I think he's a pedophile. And I just can't let it go. I cannot let it go. Fucking thank God I quit drinking. So I don't know how much longer later, I go over to him, I call him a pedophile, and I punch him directly in the face. Just, you're a pedophile. Boom. And then obviously I become the bad guy at the party. Go figure, eh? You know, just the drunk guy trying to be a humanitarian, trying to do the right thing, and I become the bad guy. So it turns out the young guy he was with was his nephew, and the guy I punched was a good friend of my best mates. He basically guided him through Bali at the early stages. They've been tight ever since my mate got to Bali. I think after I punched him in the face, his nephew attacked me. I think a couple other people attacked me. It wasn't a good scene. I ended up passing out on a dog mattress, waking up the next morning, completely covered in vomit. The whole mattress is covered in vomit. I'm covered in vomit. I've rolled around in it. I think I opened my eyes a couple of times that morning, realized I was covered in vomit and just went back to sleep. It was a fucking bad wake up. Then I couldn't remember exactly what happened until my friend started piecing it together for me. Then I remembered. Don't fuck with the tour. So that was my first time getting fucked up in over a year. That was my first experience back on the piss. And that should have been enough of a hint for me to go, maybe booze isn't my thing anymore. Maybe those days are done, but I managed to push on for almost another decade. So that's where it is. And if I've told that story before, that's your fault. Start sending in some fucked up Friday stories. Send them into my social media. I'm Boyle Comedy on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. Have a good fucking weekend, and I'll see you the fuck later.